Hi, welcome to the Pursuit of Truth. Just a few things. The first is about Britain's Got Talent, which was to do with Diversity's performance, which has gained over 3,000 complaints on Ofcom, which I think might be setting some kind of a record. Usually it used to be Big Brother that would get all the complaints, and I think it was only 1,000 or so. And all because obviously Diversity are black, and their performance included a piece that, how can I put it, showed the final moments of George Floyd's death by having a white man kneel down on his neck, and it also displayed in form of dance other parts of slavery and control and all that kind of stuff, and empowerment. And it was a very moving piece. I mean, I've seen Diversity dance on it many times, but this was very moving, and I felt that them themselves and the presenters, when the dance had finished, lessened it by not talking about the important subjects that were raised in that dance. You know, they sort of made it sort of like it was an entertainment piece, whereas I think it was a very important piece to show people what's happening and how people feel. And it's not just, you know, this idea of how black people are being treated. You can use to talk about other, you know, white people as well, where they are subjugated to living in poverty and in misery around the world and in this country and wherever. People in general, human beings. So I thought they lessened it by not sort of talking about it a little bit. But now there's all these complaints about it, and I was seeing this piece where they were talking about the reason why is because it was politicised, too much politicised, and you know, I mean, I don't understand why that would be a valid complaint. Just because it's an entertainment program on ITV doesn't mean that you can't be political. My God, is that, you know, I mean, have we got to that stage now where people can complain about? I mean, the thing is, it was what they did right or wrong? I don't see anything wrong about it. So what's the complaint? Because they made a point of showing what happened to George Floyd, what happens to many black people every single day. What, you want people to be quiet about it, not say anything. I think that is just, well, that says a lot really about those types of people who think that way. Luckily it's only 3,000 out of however many people watch the programme, millions I assume, that bothered to complain. Yeah, it's a bit sad really that I thought it should have been championed, but now it's just going to be, I'm sure Ofcom aren't going to press any charges for it. They don't seem to press any charges for anything really. They just count how much people complain about things. But I think it would be very wrong, and it would be very telling if they did, because I think it was the most important part of that programme was that dance. It was very emotional, very moving, very powerful. So if you haven't seen it, I'm sure you can YouTube it. But the main thing is what television is meant to be about. You know, if you look at the BBC's Lord Reith, when he set up the BBC, the first television company, it was about being it was educate, I think it was entertain, and what's the last one? I can never remember the third one. But yeah, it's very important that you educate. It's very important that, you know, entertainment, yeah, it's fine, but it comes and goes. But being able to put a message across and changing people's minds and making people aware of attitudes, I think is very important, and a thing that there's not enough on television these days because it's all full of reality TV, which I know Britain's Got Talent is a form of, but so I think that should be championed. But yeah. The other thing, I was just listening now to Boris Johnson making his statement about the 6 people rule to do with COVID-19 because we're on to the second wave now. And it was interesting, I stopped it because Robert Peston asked him a question about Christmas being cancelled, and then he talks about the UK breaking law to do with the European Union Get Out Treaty. But yeah, it's interesting how he talks about passports. I've seen a lot of people on YouTube talking about this idea of us being given passports, who are people who are, just the way he speaks about it, this idea of people that can mix with other people that are, use like a pregnancy style test kit to see if they've got the infectious parts of the disease, and therefore if they don't, then they can mix with other people. It just seems so like something like a Brave New World or some kind of sci-fi story, or like, it's quite chilling to hear him say it, but I just want to play this to you from Sky News.
Unmute, Robert.
Yeah. Prime Minister, on the 17th of July, you were hopeful that things would be getting back to normal at Christmas. We've today announced very significant restrictions on our ability to socialise. Chris Whitty's just said these are going to go on, certainly not for weeks, probably months. Is Christmas now effectively cancelled? And separately, Prime Minister, Sir John Major, your predecessor as Prime Minister, Sir John Major has just said that for generations Britain's word has been accepted by friend and foe, and he says that you're raising the possibility of breaching an international law by changing the terms of the withdrawal treaty would mean that we've lost something beyond price that may never be regained. What would you say to Sir John Major?
Well, thanks, Robert. First of all, on the whether we're going to get things back to normal at all by Christmas, I'm still hopeful, as I've said before, that in many ways we could be able to get some aspects of our lives back to normal by Christmas. And I talked just now about how you could do that through that moonshot of daily testing. Everybody gets a pregnancy-style test, a rapid turnaround test in the morning. 15 minutes later, you know whether you're infectious or not. You may not know whether you're infected or not, but you know whether you're infectious or not. And that gives you a kind of passport, a laissez-passer, a freedom to mingle with everybody else who is similarly not infectious in a way that is currently impossible. And you might be able to do that in the theatres, in cinemas, at sporting venues, and so on, in places of work. That's the opportunity, and we're aiming for that, Robert. We're driving for that. As I've said just now, we cannot be 100% sure that we can deliver that in its entirety. But what I do think we can do, if we can follow the whatever happens, if we can follow the guidance strictly, if we follow the rule of 6, then what we can certainly do is get on with controlling this virus. I think we've got a very good chance of controlling the current upturn in the numbers of infections, and continue with the most important thing, which is the openings up of the economy that we've seen since June the 1st, since the July the 4th openings, continue with school pupils, with students being back at their places of education, which is so vital for their future, continue with the movement forward, the forward movement of our economy. So that's what this measure is all about. It's a stitch in time to save 9, if you like. That's the purpose, and that's why it's important that everybody is so vigilant with the rule of 6. And on your second point, I have to say, of course, I see it very differently. I see the risk that certain, I think, extreme interpretations of the treaty might place to the peace process in Northern Ireland, to the Good Friday Agreement. Nobody wants to see a barrier down the Irish Sea. So what we're doing, which I think would be very, very injurious, so what we're doing is putting a safety net beneath which things cannot go wrong to protect peace and protect the settlement in our United Kingdom. And that is the purpose of what we're doing. I'm going to go next to
just makes you wonder how long this is all going to go on, these controls, these measures, whether they're being taken advantage of. Because I think at the beginning of this, people thought it maybe, like in China, it lasted a few months. But in Europe and America, it seems to be going on for over 6 months and maybe a year. Are we ever going to get back to normal? Well, we don't want to get back to the old normal, but a better normal. Not their kind of better normal. Anyway, it's interesting that the reason for most of this was economy. Just goes to show what they're really concerned about. Take care, easy, God bless and peace.